Jude Law is in Star Wars Skeleton Crew, an unnamed Jedi assisting 4 children on an adventure. That's vague.
That's one perspective.
Wow. I'm intrigued.
That sounds good.
You're not really allowed to talk much?
Not much. There are wonderful, as you can imagine, twists and turns and reveals and...
Are there 4 children?
There are 4 children.
Okay.
They are between the ages of 10 and 12. They get lost. They come from a kind of mysterious planet. They get blasted off and lost in the world of Star Wars.
Things we really like about what the shows that we've been working on have turned into is that the tone of each episode, and in certain cases each series, really reflects the storyteller or the filmmaker. So in The Mandalorian, you could have many different tones. Even though the writing is consistent across them, different filmmakers will bring different perspectives, and so each episode hopefully feels different, though they should sit alongside one another. With Skeleton Crew, I would go even further there because it's Watson Ford and a whole array of wonderful directors, some who've worked with us before, some who haven't. And so each episode has its own feel to it, but the cohesive strand of the tone is definitely inspired by, it's interesting because, Kathy Kennedy's the, running Lucasfilm, and so when John Watson and Chris Ford come in and talk about wanting to do something that feels like an Amblin movie and has that tone, it's like you're speaking right to the person who was there and knows the 11 herbs and spices that go into it.
Another year without Star Wars in the movie theaters. But don't worry, another Star Wars TV show we did not ask for is just around the corner. Star Wars Skeleton Crew is set to launch its 8-episode run on Disney Plus starting on December 3rd. After a disastrous performance from The Acolyte, it is hard to imagine how anyone would be excited for another TV show that will surely disappoint fans and frustrate parents with the interjection of more woke ideology and third-wave feminism. This show is most definitely going to be as woke as The Acolyte, right? Actually, I don't think so. Star Wars The Skeleton Crew showrunners John Watts and Christopher Ford come to this project after their recent successes on the new Spider-Man trilogy for the MCU and Sony. These projects did extremely well in the box office, and of the criticisms that were mentioned, woke beats and gender ideology were not any of the complaints. Of the listed executive producers for The Skeleton Crew so far are 2 familiar names, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Jon Favreau is no stranger to the Star Wars universe with his successful launch of The Mandalorian show with the launch of Disney Plus, and Dave Filoni with his work on the animated Clone Wars series, Rebels, and Bad Batch, which received mostly positive praise from the fans and critics. Jon Favreau has also been given the next movie release for the Star Wars universe with The Mandalorian and Grogu, and Dave Filoni has been given a movie which will likely wrap up his live-action Ahsoka series. These two have had their recent flops, to include an awful Mandalorian Season 3 by Jon and a poorly executed and boring Ahsoka live-action TV show for Dave. These two creators operate in the corporate world, where diversity, equity, and inclusion permeates even the smallest of projects. But both, for the most part, have been successful in keeping all the woke nonsense out of their projects. The Skeleton Crew, which will feature Jude Law as a Jedi leading a band of young kids on a galactic adventure, will not be plagued with many gender inclusion, diversity pushing, or woke ideas that absolutely ruin The Acolyte. This show will unfortunately be plagued by other issues. Jon Favreau has not been able to successfully bring that spark he was able to contribute to the Iron Man movies and Avengers titles over in the MCU over to the world of Star Wars. Star Wars at its core is a character journey, as the arc navigates the expansive and immersive world around them. Unfortunately, many characters created for The Mandalorian are one-dimensional, whose arc consists of boring or even contradictive moments that ruin the story's immersion. Dave Filoni has been unsuccessful so far in translating his interesting character stories and world building into live action. For fans hoping to see versions of storytelling seen in the Clone Wars or Rebels, they have been surely disappointed, as the live action elements created by Dave make the universe feel extremely small compared to the expansive universe in the animated series. Oh, and don't worry, Kathleen Kennedy already gave herself her executive producer's credit for The Skeleton Crew. I'm sure she was instrumental in the actual creative work done, just like all her other credits in the past. After viewing the trailer and seeing the visuals, which look incredible so far, I am reminded of the poor storytelling so far that has been given to us in the Ahsoka and the Acolyte series. I expect a lot of the same for The Skeleton Crew. I actually believe this show will be kid appropriate, as a space adventure and coming of age story is the core of Star Wars. Many fans and now parents will most likely not introduce this show to their kids in the first place, as Star Wars under Disney is now synonymous for woke, poor storytelling with lessons and characters simply not appropriate for a younger audience.
I've never been starstruck like I was when I met a Jawa.
Yeah.
I'm not joking.
Yes.
I saw a Jawa walking by.
You're like,
I was like, I can't believe it's
oh my
a real
gosh,
Jawa.
it's a real Jawa.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
Jude Law may have been excited to be a part of the Star Wars world. 2 executive producers and the showrunners have in the past been capable of creating amazing completed stories void of woke beats. But unfortunately, the story told in the Skeleton Crew will most likely contradict itself and end in a predictable and extremely boring way. Let me know if you think the woke beats seen in The Acolyte will make their way into the Skeleton Crew down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video and you too are a disapproving parent who just wants these woke companies to leave the kids alone and go back to producing good stories and family-oriented content, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for further.